Hello, this is Anne. It's week 13 and we're working on drafting the formal analytical report. The draft is due at the end of this week. I'd like to give a few examples here, putting the focus on the system of headings from your table of contents, incorporating them into your draft, and another focus on the use of the visuals. You're required to add at least two tables, graphs, charts, whatever you want to call them. Incorporate at least two visuals into your final report. I'll begin by looking at the model in chapter 23. You'll remember this model because I used it before when we were talking about documentation. So you'll see highlighted sources and notes, my notes written on the side later, but don't worry about them. Don't pay any attention to them. I'm just using this PDF, this scanned model, to show a different emphasis for this stage of your drafting. So let's begin here with the title page. I guess we've been through this. You do need a title page, and these are on. This begins on page 566 in your text. Now let me look at the second page here, the table of contents, because this table of contents also provides you with your system of headings. Usually these sorts of reports, the formal analytical reports, have at least 3 levels in their system of headings. So now table of contents, it starts out with the abstract and the introduction. So this is the first level of your heading, of your system of headings. There'll be introduction, data section, conclusion, and references. That's level 1. Under level 1, data section, you'll see 2 different headings that are on level 2. That is key factors in a technical marketing career and a comparison of entry options. And these are marked by a simple indentation under the first level. The third level, all of these are third level headings, again indented under the second level headings. So let's go ahead and forward to page 1. Oh, let me mention first about the table of contents. You will be including after your regular table the another heading, figures and tables. And notice that these are figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, table 1, and that they go according to the order of their pages. So if you, for example, only had figure 1 and figure 2, your heading would just say figures, not figures and tables. So just some common sense things here. Roman numeral 3 page is the abstract, and that is just a summary of your report. We'll talk about that later. But here comes page 1 of the actual feasibility analysis. And you see the system of headings. Introduction is the first level. It's centered at the top. I'm going to scroll down some more. I hope this isn't smearing too much. On page 2, you'll see all 3 levels of headings. So you see data section as the second first level heading, and under that, all the way over to the left margin, is the first of the second level headings, key factors in a technical marketing career. And directly under that, indented this time, and equal with it just the paragraph just follows it, except it's set off as with bolding, but we'll see the technical marketing process, period. It's still a heading. It is not a sentence, although it does have a period, but it's treated as if it is part of the next the paragraph itself. All right, I guess that's enough about headings. Since we're on this page, let's look at the first use of a visual. Now, there are four big points I want to make over and over about the visuals, and you'll see these in the grading criteria at the end of this video. That's what I'll be looking for. The first is to always explain all the information in your text. The information that you want to deliver to your reader should be there. It should be able to stand even without the visual. Like in this case, we see the classic process: identifying, reaching, selling to customers entails six key activities. And then the text defines all six of these activities in some detail: market research, product development and management, cost determination and pricing, advertising and promotion, product distribution, sales and technical support, and then enough information behind it to define, to clarify exactly what you mean by that key activity. And then, after all the information, we introduce the figure, or the student, this writer introduces the figure. Engaged in all these activities, the technical marketing professional gains detailed understanding of the industry, the product, and the customer's needs. Figure 1. So the first thing is to always discuss in full detail, give full information in the text so that it could stand alone without the visual, and then use the visual to reinforce the prose list. Okay? So you always mention the visual by its label here, figure 1. It always has to be mentioned in the text. This is always true. And you'll lose points in the grading criteria if you forget to refer to the figure or graph or table in your text. So here is the figure, the visual, that reinforces what's already been said in the text. It repeats the 6 stages in the process, the key activities they're called, and it repeats what was said in the text and even more, and these bullets here even make it clearer. It gives more detail closely associated with the title of each key characteristic. Okay, so that was that was 2 of the 4. You talked about it in the text. You mention the figure in the text. You provide below a clear title or label, in this case, the technical marketing process, which you've already said. And the 4th thing then is to always give the complete citation of your source right there under the title or label. Now, this citation does not appear again under references. This is where the citation, the only place it occurs, at least in this case. So let's go down to the next page, and we'll look at one more example of using a visual. This is on page 3 of the analysis and page 571 in the text. So 4 things again. Does it talk about, does it give the full information in the text as though the figure were not there? Let's look at this. For graduates with the right combination of technical and personal qualifications, the outlook for technical marketing and management is excellent. Most engineering jobs will increase at less than average for jobs requiring a bachelor's degree, while marketing and marketing management jobs will exceed the average rate. So yes, it explains all the information in the text, because that is indeed what they are showing with this line graph. And as the text said, it provides instant comparison. The visual really does clarify what was just said in the text by the clear linear comparison. Okay, so the first thing is done. The second thing is that figure 2 is referred to in the text. Good. And the third is that the figure is labeled with a clear, informative title. And the fourth thing is that the source is cited. This won't, it doesn't want to highlight the whole thing, but you can see what I mean, that the full APA documentation for this source, data from the U.S. Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics in 2009, along with the HTTP, the URL for an instant click, all of that is available. Again, let me make the point that this alone, this visual alone could not stand. You couldn't just put that in there and leave it up to the reader. What you have to do is explain it fully in the text and then let the figure provide clarification. Let the figure reinforce what you've already said in the text. In this case, neither one of these can stand alone. Okay, now is this always true about not standing alone? Let's look at the third one, because sometimes things do work together. The figure does work together with the text, so that neither has to stand alone. In this case, the explanation does depend on the visual. Let's just look at it. We've got other skills and qualities required, a quote from Peter Coy, Business Week, and then we see technical marketing is just such a job. It involves few cookbook-type tasks and requires people skills. Besides a strong technical background, success in this field calls for a generous blend of those traits summarized in Figure 3. Now notice, in this case, we've got an explanation of the information that this writer is trying to get across, and we've got reference to the figure, and this time it's not in parentheses with this like just a kind of an assumed look at Figure 3. It's actually part of the sentence. And it's saying that some of the information you do have to look into Figure 3 to understand it. In this case, it's the blend of those traits summarized in Figure 3. And those traits are motivation, communication skills, interpersonal and collaborative skills listed in a box. So, first thing was the explanation is clear. The two work together. The text works with the figure. The figure is referred to in the sentence. The figure is labeled with an informative title. And the fourth thing was about being cited. And I made this point earlier when we were talking about documentation. Why isn't this source cited here? Because this was a creation of the writer herself. There is no source involved. And that too emphasizes why she used this visual representation to complete the information in her paragraph. So this is perfectly acceptable. Okay, the other thing I wanted to show was a student model of a paper. Let me bring this up. Here again is the title page with running head up at the top and pagination beginning right there on the title page. And this one has a letter of transmittal or a cover letter. This is optional for you all. We haven't talked about the cover letter. I suppose we should add it. But most of these are in-house, and they're not always as necessary as they used to be. Here's the abstract, and this was a draft. You can see the instructor's comments on what to fix, what to, suggestions for improvement. Here's a table of contents. And again, let's look at the system of headings. All of these are table of contents that come before the actual report itself. That's why these are here in the small Roman numeral pagination. Page 1 of the report, and this would be the first level of the heading system, is again introduction. We've got other level 1 headings, collected data, conclusion, and references. I'll talk about those in a minute. Let's look at, let's look at them right now, because here, this is more like what yours will look like on your draft. You have figure 1, the descriptive title or informative title, the year for APA and the page. Figure 2, same thing. Now, look at this title. It's got figures and tables. In this case, if you only have 2 figures, I would delete that because there are no tables involved. All right. Let's go back up. We were dealing with the first level headings. Let's look under introduction, and these are all second level headings, all in just a few pages. And there's this whole middle section under collected data that has second level headings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, causes, effects, methods for prevention and intervention models. And then under each of these is a third level of headings, just like we saw in the model in chapter 23. So here's the 3 levels of headings right there. And let's just go to page 4 and see how these headings from the table of contents look on the actual, inside the actual report. Okay, here we are to collected data, page 4. And here again, we see those 3 levels of headings. First level, collected data, centered at the top. Second level, causes of gang violence in school, all the way to the left margin in bold. The third level, gang involvement, period, is indented just like it's beginning the paragraph, and then the first paragraph follows right behind it. All right. Let's stay on this page, chapter 4, and look at the student's use of a figure. Let's start up here, and we'll go through the same 4 points to watch for. First is the explanation clearly in the text, so that even if the even if the figure were missing, the information would still be clear just within the text. And we'll start here with children who often stay on a path of deviant behavior are likely to join a gang by the time they are at the 8th grade level or age 14, according to that source. Figure 1 shows gang involvement being much more prevalent in juveniles under the age of 18. All right. Now, could this stand alone when she says being much more prevalent in juveniles under the age of 18? When we look at the figure itself, we see rural counties and smaller counties. We see in red the adults 18 and over, and we see in blue juveniles. So we see that there's a very good use of a figure because it's very clear that the juvenile number is much higher. Those under 18 are much higher in both the rural and smaller counties. So I'm thinking that this would be even in the text, this student could be more specific. I would say that she should say, figure 1 shows gang involvement. What would be more specific? At least twice as much more prevalent, or at least twice as much among juveniles under the age of 18. Then, in that case, then you really could get along without the visual. So I'm trying to make the point here that if you, to be perfectly clear, say everything you've got to say, make your point in the text, and then just use the visual, the figure in this case, to reinforce, to show the very clear comparison. Okay, so of our 4 points, this student has done one, talked about the information in the text. She has, number 2, referred to the figure in the text. 3, she has labeled figure 1 and given an informative title, Age of Gang Members by Area Type 2006, and she has given the source, the National Gang Center. Now, there is no need for a full citation here because this is another special situation, because just following through, you see on the very next page, page 5, she uses this same National Gang Center 2010, the exact same source that she's talking about in the next paragraph. So since the full citation here, the full documentation is under references because of this use in her text, then this here is enough. You don't have to just repeat yourself to death. All right. Let's go on then to one last example. On page 6, here is the student's second use of a figure. And again, we'll go through the four elements that I'm looking for when I'm grading your papers concerning the integration of the visuals. This is another copy-pasted. You know, she didn't have to create this in Excel or anything. She just simply went to the National Gang Center source website and copy-pasted both of these figures directly into her text, just like you would a quotation, and that's perfectly fine. Now, first of all, does she talk about the information, this percentage change between 2002 and 2007? Does she talk about this clearly in the text? We see here, as mentioned before, the number of gang members has increased in short amount. Figure 2 shows how much the number of gangs and gang membership has increased in a 5-year span. All right, now could that stand alone, just the way it is? This is more like that last example in the Chapter 23 model. It should be clearer, as this instructor pointed out, that the number of gang members has increased in a short period of time. Figure 2 shows how much the number of gangs and gang members has increased in a 5-year span. I would say if you're going to say it shows how much that number has increased in a 5-year span, that you could be even more specific and use the numbers. As much as 65% gang increase in rural countries. Just that little additional explanation would be enough to make the text stand on its own if you lost the visual, the figure. But in this case, she refers to it. She's got some explanation. I'm saying it could be a little better. She has mentioned the figure in her sentence, saying exactly what it does. The third is, has she labeled it? Yes. Here's figure 2, period, percentage change in gang problem estimates, 2002 to 2007. And the fourth element is the source, reference to the source here, National Gang Center. So, when you turn in your drafts this week, my focus for points will be on how successfully your visuals work with your text. In fact, let's look at the assignment under week 3, to do, and you see the grading criteria here for the draft, and all of it is focusing on the visuals. Complete, correct, clear, concise information in well-designed format, grammatical correctness. 1.4, placing the visual or figure close to the discussion. That should be balanced and set off with white space, not crowded. The number the figure, give clear title and label, use prose caption when appropriate. Introduce, interpret, explain the visual, always tell the readers what to look for and what it means. And the last item will be always to cite the source of the figure, all complete below the title. Okay, so if you have drafting questions other than about the visuals that we've gone over pretty clearly just now, I'm not covering those. I'm expecting a pretty good draft, one that can just be proofread, and perhaps we can offer some suggestions for improvement or things that are missing, things that could be deleted. And so if you have questions about anything other than the visuals, please email or call. Looking forward to seeing these drafts. I know you've been working hard.